we found that what makes the difference is not working to, how can I put it, is creating the environment in which natural change occurs. So you don't fix it,
Mhm.
you don't work with it, so to speak. You create this container. I mean, we know that when what is missing fills itself in, change happens. Boom,
Mhm.
it moves all on its own. You don't have to do anything. You just go, oh, wow, that's amazing. And so we call this container, the components of this container, so to speak, or we call it self and presence. It
Mhm.
is that quality of attention that makes a space in which this changes. And so we have now got 5 aspects of self and presence. The power of cultivating self and presence. And there are 3 aspects to that. And there's the power of and, which is about how can all these different parts have a space that are held equally in equal regard with equal curiosity and care. And then there's the power of deep empathy, which is about if you are with one part, how can you be with it so that it can unfold itself, so that it can be fully heard, so that whatever never got understood, never got accepted, never got even acknowledged, has an opportunity to be known in the way that it needs to be known. And then we have 2 more, which are about felt sensing. The one is called felt sensing the stoppage, which is actually experiencing directly how your body carries what got stopped.
Mhm.
That's, there's this stop place, this experience of stoppage, which was never fully experienced when it happened. There's a direct experiencing and a way of doing that as felt sensing. And then we also have felt sensing the whole thing, which is felt sensing the entire situation. We call them tangle. And a tangle is when it all got mucked up and everything that came after that getting stopped. So all of the strategies, all of the ways that people go around feeling something and coping with something, if you don't have part of who you are available.
It sounds like what you're emphasizing is self and presence, which means, if I've got you, that the environment, almost the atmosphere, the whole situation that you create in focusing is pivotal. If you don't
Yeah.
have that right, then nothing will come alive and begin to process itself.
Yeah. What you'll do is you'll wind up relating to whatever's there from a part, which
Exactly.
means you are going to try, you're not going to be able to hold it openly.
Yeah,
You're going to try and manipulate in some way.
exactly. And I've had years of that. I know that feeling. Because it also doesn't feel very good while doing it. It feels like you're
uh,
focusing inside of a tightness in some
yeah.
way. The second thing that you were saying about the felt sensing, that sounded interesting. I wanted to just make sure I got it. Because it sounded like you were saying that there's almost um, two kinds of attention. This is the wrong way to say it, but I'll say it that way. Almost like two kinds of attention. One is the kind of attention where you're really close to the part where the tangle or the stuckness is. And the other kind of attention sounded a little bit more holistic, where you're not only paying attention to that place, but you're paying attention to everything that has developed in order to manage it or cope with it over the years. Is that right?
Sort of.
Okay.
Um, there are we say that there are kind of two different axes. There is a vertical axis and a horizontal axis. And the vertical axis goes deep and specific.
Yeah.
And the horizontal axis goes wide and inclusive.
Yeah.
And that's true for both parts, and we could call it direct referent in terms of Jane's kind of talking about, like, so there is, with parts, you can go very wide. You can go, there's this part, and there's that part, and there's that part, and there's that part, and there's that part too. And oh yeah, there's this part up here, and I'm including all of them. I am widening my awareness, my field of awareness, to include every part that I can be aware of at this point in my tangle.
Okay.
Or you can go deep, very deep with one part, like sensing what it's really not wanting to have happen to me, and not wanting to have happen if that happens, and so on, until you get to the really deepest place, and it goes, finally, you've heard me, you really got me. So there's that deep access as well.
Yeah.
And then it's also true with the point of stoppage. The point of stoppage is actually a deep, specific place. So that's the vertical axis of that. And then you have this horizontal axis, which is getting a felt sense of the whole thing.